whatever you wind up doing is exactly what you should be doing.
And I have not behaved one single day of my life. Not one day of my life have I behaved, and I am fine.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're going to hurt some people.
Whose car are we going to take?
Thank you for joining us on the Nikki Medoro Show. Fun show ahead. Good morning, my friend Kim McAllister. Are you staying warm, and did you get a lot of rain last night?
Yes and yes.
All right. I got a little bit. We went out for, you know how high schools do fundraisers to raise money for things. So there was one. This is excellent. And I had put the gift card in my box of favorite things. So it was for the competitive cheerleading. My daughter's not part of it, but, you know, I support most of the things at the schools, whether my kid's part of it or not. And it was at the Lazy Dog. So I got my deep fried deviled eggs last night. I was very, very stoked about that. But anyways.
So it was like a dine and donate kind of deal?
Well, you go in and, like, for this instance, 15% of your bill gets donated to the
dine and donate,
And I mean, we spent like close to $200 because, of course, both of my children need to get the most expensive thing on the menu. I'm sticking with deviled eggs and fried chicken, but whatever. Anyways, as I was pulling into Lazy Dog last night, so 7:30, we got a couple big drops on my windshield. One inside came out, no more rain. So I don't know if the South Bay just kind of, because I kept hearing Santa Cruz and stuff like that. But anyways, we need the rain. A bigger storm is supposed to come Friday, and then another system, I think, Sunday, Monday, or Monday, Tuesday. So happy to see it. Hope it's cold enough to bring some snow as well, because we need that. We need that snowpack here in California.
Can I show you a video?
Please. I love videos.
So I'm just reading this story, and this is kind of a big deal. But rental car companies are telling people, don't gas up near the Oakland airport.
Oh, no.
There are these gas stations right along the area leading to and from the airport, and car thieves are waiting for you to just roll in. And look at this. This guy takes the baggage or whatever in the back, and the guy was still in the driver's seat. He's like running after his stuff.
Oh, that sucks.
Look at that. So yeah, this is a rental car companies at Oakland International Airport telling anyone, if you're returning a car and you're trying to gas it up before you have done so, watch for your belongings and don't even stop at one of these gas stations right near the entrance.
Which a lot of people do to fill it up right before they drop the car off again. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to get to the gas station closest to the airport so that it's topped off, right? That it's as full as it can be. Ooh.
That sucks. And, you know, again, another bad headline. I was going off on Oakland yesterday because of Mayor Tao still not having a police chief. Again, if you know this, you know, in my mind, okay, we need to patrol that area more. The gas station in and of itself should have some sort of security. Although I don't know how I mean, they move so quickly. You saw that video. And look how quickly, like that. You
guys in, these out.
Make sure your car's doors are, I mean, this is insane. And now, I don't know if you saw, but Mayor Tao's asking for like this ceasefire. Ceasefire seems to be the term to start off the new year. This ceasefire in Oakland. Okay. Are you letting other people know? Like, I understand we had a ceasefire program that they kind of let lax, and they did see a lot of success with it before COVID. And then during COVID, it kind of went by the wayside. I think they're throwing everything in the kitchen sink at this problem, because headlines like this are the last thing that the city of Oakland and Mayor Tao, and I will say the police department, need right now. So that sucks.
Well, thieves know which cars are the rental cars, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could probably tell because it has the license plate. I would take those damn things off the freaking rental cars.
They know which ones are the rental cars. That you just reach in and grab the whole suitcase. This is all on Hagenberger near 98th, right off the 880 freeway. And SF Gate went there to talk to people at the rental car agencies, and they found these signs up all over the rental car center saying, don't stop at one of these gas stations. This one woman at a rental car agency talked to SF Gate, and they said they have 5 to 7 customers a day who come in with windows smashed rental cars. 5 to 7 customers a day. Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. I was going to, this is my mind working. Like, people are not going to want to fly out of Oakland.
Mm-mm.
I mean, I know that it's not like, obviously the airport isn't responsible, but I don't want to. So for instance, I'm going to Vegas in April, right?
Mhm.
So I was looking at all the airports. I would never go to San Francisco. That's just way too far. But Oakland's closer to me in San Jose than SFO is. And so I was looking at it and it was cheaper. And I'm just wondering, I don't know if any airline flights are based on that, but it's one of those things where if I had a choice to fly out of SJC or Oakland,
Mhm.
and I knew that there was this risk, I don't know if I'd want to, right? If somebody's coming into California and they have the chance to go to SFO, Oakland, or San Jose, and you're hearing all these headlines about Oakland, right? I mean, it has to have some sort of effect, whether it's an actual financial one, a psychological one, or whatever. Calvin says, yes, next to Oakland Airport, as soon as the cops leave the parking lot, the thieves attack, documented by store owners.
Jeez.
That's
Man, this is
nuts.
crazy.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think about this even in San Jose, and I know that we don't get the same headlines, although we are the safest big city in the Bay Area. Did you see that headline? We're working on it, people. I love how I was like in the Bay Area. I'm like compared to Oakland and San Francisco. Woo. I'll
That's
take
saying
it.
something.
I'll take
Woo.
it. But yeah, I mean, I think about it even at a gas station when I'm by myself because we're in the news. We hear these headlines all the time, right?
Yeah.
So when I'm filling up my gas tank, I keep my purse on me because you see those videos. Oh, I left my
Mhm.
purse on the passenger thing. They come in, they steal it while you're pumping the gas, and then you're like on the other side of the car. So I always do that. I lock my car. I do all of these things because you have to. People are
Mhm.
a-holes. Asses. That sucks.
They say they tell people avoid any rental cars on Hagenberger. Instead, you should use one in San Leandro or Alameda, which is close, but still, I mean,
Right.
they say those are your hotspots, the main vicinity of Hagenberger. You go to
Yeah.
get gas, and by the time you come out, your window is busted out, or if your doors are unlocked, they'll get your stuff. It just doesn't matter. Your stuff is
Yeah.
gone. And
Amy, yeah, go ahead.
clearly, it doesn't matter whether you're in the car or not. That guy was in
In
the
the
driver's
car.
seat, and they smashed it while they opened the back door while he's in there.
I
Wow.
mean, my car, I don't know how it is with your car, but the minute that I'm in my car and I go,
Mhm.
my car doors lock. And then even if I park, I have to still unlock the door. It doesn't open because you guys will remember I told the story one time I was driving in San Francisco in my Prius and I stopped at a light and somebody thought I was a Lyft driver and tried to get in my car. I was like, this is not a Lyft. And he's like, oh, he was opening, but he couldn't open my car. So I mean, that's a feature that cars should have. Amy says the car companies in Oakland should change their refuel policy so it doesn't require the customer to refill themselves. You don't have to, but you pay their rates.
Right.
So they tell you like,
Mhm.
this is how much we're charging for gas. I would say, you know what, paying a couple cents more to not have to worry about this crap, worth it to me. Worth it to me.
They quote one of the people at a Shell gas station on Hagenberger saying that in the year of 2023, they logged in, and probably they had more that weren't reported,
Mhm.
271 auto burglaries at the Shell gas station
Wow.
in the year, along with 15 robberies and 5 instances of vehicle theft.
That sucks. That sucks.
I mean, wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's so it's sad. It really, really is sad. And I don't know what we can do, but these friggin' thieves, and they're gonna have the worst luck ever. I'm putting it out there. I'm like, I'm cursing you. I'm doing all that kind of stuff because I just don't understand people that can continue to
I
do
have
this.
been at those gas stations before. I have, stopped there while covering stories for KGO, right? And
Yeah.
or been there myself trying to gas up for whatever reason, flying out of Oakland International. So I had no idea that was that bad at those gas stations right
Yeah,
there.
it makes
No
sense though.
idea.
It makes sense
Mhm.
though. It totally makes sense. So
Yeah.
yeah, keep that in mind as people start planning trips, winter trips, spring trips, all sorts of trips. And that's not a headline again that Oakland wants right now, but
No,
it is a headline that Oakland gets.
with
I
no
do.
police chief.
Yeah, exactly. We need a new
Mhm.
police chief, Mayor Tao.
Mhm.
Please. I understand the ceasefire, but we need more than that right now. Right now. I want to let you guys know, and I teased this towards the end of the show yesterday. And I'm just going to preface this by saying, you guys can always email me. Here's my email address. All right. I'm going to put it up here. I said it very quickly towards the end of the show. I'm going to say it longer now. Tomorrow, I am going to have Palestinian American comedian, writer, law professor, Bernie Sanders surrogate, Amir Zar, on the show. Okay. And he's going to be talking about the war against Hamas, between Israel and Hamas. We have had, and we do have John Rothman on every Friday to talk about all kinds of politics. And of course, John Rothman does talk about the war, and I appreciate his perspective. I always appreciate John's perspective. But some of you have reached out and said, look, it's one-sided. We haven't heard the Palestinian point of view. And I said that yesterday, and I got some emails. I'm not going to call out the people that emailed me, but I got some emails saying, one person put it in the comment, but kind of alluding to the fact of, don't have terrorists on the show. Please don't spew anti-Semitism on the show. I have watched, and again, I've emailed and I've watched the videos of Amir Zar before. He's an intelligent man. He is a comedian. I don't know how many jokes he's going to be making about this, but he's not, he's somebody that I feel, and thank you to Sam for connecting us, can speak. And I do feel that when we see bridges being shut down, board of supervisors, city councils talking about calling for a ceasefire, I really feel we need to have a balanced conversation about this. And so I'm bringing him on tomorrow. He's going to be on around 9:30. And I welcome you all to join us. If you have any questions that you want me to specifically ask, because I have a ton of my own, email them to me. But again, I am not, and I'm coming, and I even told Kim Amir this. I was like, I'm coming as a total stare. And I'm going to say this, because I know that all of us, we read the newspapers, we try to stay up on current events. I'm coming as a American outsider to this whole thing. I'm not Jewish. Okay. I'm not Jewish. Not that I don't care, but I'm not Jewish. I'm not Palestinian. I'm not Israeli. I'm not any of these. Okay. I don't have family that live over there. Not saying I don't have skin in the game, because I am a human being who believes, in human rights. Okay. But I'm coming, I'm not going to be a fact checker. What I'm going to be is a person trying to have a conversation of one of my first questions is, what does a free Palestine look like? How do we actually get there? How do we, protect, and I hesitate to say this, but how do we protect both sides? I feel like Trump has totally taken the both sides part and warped it. But, how do we actually resolve this? Yesterday, Israel said that the most intense kind of attacks on Hamas are going to be ending. Bernie Sanders actually just yesterday, he has a measure before the Senate requiring human rights scrutiny over the aid the U.S. gives to Israel. So all of these things I'm going to talk to Amir Zar about tomorrow. Okay. And I'm saying both sides, as in, we have heard from John Rothman. I want to hear from a Palestinian. That's what I mean by both sides. Okay. That's what I mean by both sides. And if you don't want to hear the Palestinian, I'm not talking about Hamas here. I'm not having someone with Hamas on, right? I'm not doing that. And that's a great question. Will Palestinians accept the existence of Israel? Exactly. Right. I'm really trying to be fair here. And and really call out the fact that I don't want more innocent lives to be lost. So that's happening at 9:30 tomorrow. I'm going to do the best I can. I'm just going to preface this on this. I'm really going to do the best I can to listen. What I will not, and this is just the warning, hateful rhetoric in the comments. All right. Like, I love you guys. Keep it respectful. I know that there's a lot of passion. There's a lot of opinions on this. Okay. I am not trying to be disrespectful to anybody. But let's just be adults here and have this conversation. And so that's going to happen tomorrow at 9:30. So I just want to let you guys know. I'm a little nervous about it. I will be honest. And I told Kim before the show, I'm a little nervous about this. I am. I've kind of taken I'm just going to stand back. And that doesn't even feel right to me. Right. No. So again, it's just, I've given it a shot. I'm giving it a shot. And I just hope that you guys are respectful. That's all I ask.
I love what you told me and what you just said about not being afraid to have the conversation.
Yes. Well, we need to.
Because, even if you don't agree with what the person comes on the show and says, to hear that perspective and to think, okay, well, now maybe I understand more why John Rothman is so passionate about this. Or now maybe I understand why, we get a lot of pushback against John Rothman when he's on the show, whatever. You have to be able to open your mind and understand both perspectives. And some people will say, well, there's only one perspective that's correct. There's
Right.
only one way
Of
that's
course.
right. And to entertain any other notion, is goes against everything I believe in. So I just won't listen. I just won't I just will go away and not listen to that day. But I think that's a mistake. I think that's really short-sighted. I remember I played, and in retrospect, maybe I shouldn't have done it. I'm really pissed off Stan the CPA. And Stan, if you're here, I'm so sorry about that. But I played, I think it was on this show, the Queen of Jordan.
Okay.
And at that point, I didn't realize how closely aligned the Palestinians and Jordan were, and that basically a lot of Palestinians fled into Jordan, and there's a lot of overcross there. And her messages that she said, I was listening to because I was trying to understand the perspective, but he was really mad. Like, I shouldn't have given her a platform. I shouldn't have played that on the show. I shouldn't be furthering her message.
Right.
When I really was simply really trying to understand what's happening, who's thinking what, who's saying what these different perspectives actually are. So
Right.
I applaud you for doing this, for having the conversation, and for at least trying to understand, as you say, both sides, because there really are both sides here.
And when I say both sides, like, I don't believe what happened on October 7th was okay at all.
No, absolutely
I also,
not.
I have so many questions. One of the other narratives that I often hear is obviously Hamas, terrorist organization, but also, from what I understand, the governmental figure of Palestine, and the use of what I understand innocent lives as human shields, right? So how do we support the destruction of Hamas when it seems to be also the destruction of innocent lives? Or do some people just believe there are no innocent Palestinians, which is horrific to believe, in my opinion? Like, I have gone down the rabbit hole of some of these videos, and there are people that believe that. And I just can't, that doesn't sit with me, right? Like, I cannot. Mike says the city of Santa Cruz voted on a ceasefire resolution last week. They decided to change a demand for a ceasefire to wish for peace. The mayor is now getting death threats. See, and that's, again, I really hope this doesn't bring death threats on me. Somebody else was asking, why don't I bring John Rothman on and Amir Czar to have a debate? And I mentioned this to Kim after the show yesterday. The reason why I don't want to debate is because I do not feel like I have enough knowledge to moderate. Does that make sense? Like, I don't want to, I feel like I would just be sitting there and they would just be going back and forth. I wouldn't be moderating anything. You know what I mean? So I'm going to because John Rothman, I won't be here on Friday or Monday, but John Rothman's going to be on Friday, and Kim can make the decision whether or not she's going to. I can send John. Obviously, I hope John's always watching my show, and he can respond if he wants to, but I'm not a moderator of a debate like this. And I don't know if you guys understand the role of a moderator, but that's not a position that I want to put myself in. I just don't. And I'm being honest. It's the only way I can be. I don't feel comfortable doing it. I feel like all of you to be like, why didn't you say something then? Why didn't you say something then? And I'm like, listen, I'm just coming to listen. I'm coming to listen. Because when we have American citizens, when we have people calling for ceasefires, I want to know what that looks like. I do. And maybe Calvin, maybe a debate in the future. But again, I really hope you guys understand that I'm coming at this as honest and just straightforward as possible of where I stand. I don't want to conflate anything. I don't want to make it seem like I am a total expert on all this. I'm coming to listen. And exactly, if I was Jewish, you'd have a different perspective. But again, Bernie Sanders, and that's why I wanted to bring this up. Bernie Sanders is Jewish. And he himself has put forth a measure being like, look, and this is what he says. It's the first of its kind, tapping into a decades-old law that would require the U.S. State Department to, within 30 days, produce a report on whether the Israeli war effort in Gaza is violating human rights and international accords. If the administration failed to do so, U.S. military aid to Israel, which has long been assured without question, could be quickly halted. Bernie Sanders said, who is Jewish, and I'm just responding to that comment. We must ensure that U.S. aid is being used in accordance with human rights and our own laws. And I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't see anything wrong with that. So that's what I'm going to be talking about tomorrow. I don't want to do it all today, but I feel like there's going to be a lot of talking tomorrow. So
I don't know if this is right. Lumping all Palestinians together is bigoted. Okay, well, we won't make that mistake then, right?
Well, I'm not.
Yeah.
Lumping what I'm saying, when I say, having someone that's Palestinian on the show as if he speaks for every single Palestinian, nobody can do that. No Democrat can speak for all Democrats, right? I mean, of course not. Of course not. Let's be just genuine. Okay, that's what I'm trying to be. I'm trying to be genuine with what I'm trying to do tomorrow. All right. And I just, again, I'm going to give it my best shot.
We'll ask him if I'm reading Brian's comment. Palestinians are good people. Hamas are terrorists. They want the world to be free of Jews, period. There is no other side to that. Okay, so we'll ask him tomorrow. Are the Hamas folks terrorists? I don't know how to say that. Are the people, the members of Hamas, terrorists? We'll ask him point blank and see what he has to say. And I think that's really telling what the answer to that will be, right? But to hear the answer, to hear what people are having to say about it, I think is important to, as Nikki says, have that conversation.
Yeah. So we're going to do that tomorrow. I hope you guys will join us. Again, I hope you guys will be respectful. Yeah. So gonna give it a shot, Cam. Gonna give it a shot. All right. Let's do some headlines. When we come back, we're gonna talk a bit about climate change. I was surprised to read and hear this story yesterday that the face of climate change deniers is getting younger, which surprised me because I feel like kids of our children and a little bit older, they're well aware that the planet is warming up, right? I mean, you have Greta Thunberg and you have so many other people just being on the forefront. But it's different. It's not the same kind of denier that we're used to, right? These Republicans that sit with a snowball and say, what are you talking about global warming? That's an idiotic way of thinking about it, but it's a different one. And love you, YouTube, but this platform has a lot to do with it. So we'll discuss that. Chip Franklin is also going to be on the show in the second part of the show. We'll talk about politics. We'll see what he's up to. I know that he has a bunch of podcasts that he helps produce, and so we'll get an update from him as well, like we are going to be doing every Wednesday on the Nikki Medoro Show. Before we do that, though, click the thumbs up, show your support. The super chat is also live. If you'd like to throw us a super sticker, a super comment, a super thanks, just look for the $sign in the live chat box. And thank you to everyone that has become an official Medorable. Please join the cool club. Go to thenikkimedoroshow.com, thenikkimedoroshow.com. Click our Patreon link and donate whatever you can one time a month. Whatever you can afford, we really do appreciate it. If you like PayPal, it's really easy on PayPal. Just go to paypal.com, hit the send button, and then put in the email address to the show, thenikkimedoroshow@gmail.com. All right. We will talk climate change deniers getting younger next on the Nikki Medoro Show.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
Well, ABC News is canceling their GOP primary debate, which was scheduled for Thursday. They're citing a lack of participation.
Well,
ain't nobody want to go do it.
Nikki Haley's not going to do it.
They're like, nobody wants to debate. We're not going to have a debate. That's the way it is.
What do you think about that? I mean, on one hand, I feel like Ron DeSantis is like, I'll go and I'll just sit and spew. I'll have a free campaign stop on ABC, but ABC doesn't want to give up that kind of airtime to just one candidate. But Nikki Haley has a point. What are we going to talk about? You guys, at this point, we know the difference between Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis, right? I mean, we know what they're going to say. If Trump's not going to show up, then what's the point?
It just surprises me that candidates for political office would not want to come always take any opportunity to talk about the issues, any opportunity to put themselves before voters to talk about the issues they should welcome and embrace, but they say no.
I mean, do we need it as much now in the days of social media and the internet? I mean, honestly, and every time they have a debate, what do we say, Kim? That wasn't a debate. That wasn't a debate. That's stupid. We're wasting our time. It's just been, you know what I mean? Like, we don't like what we get and it's not really a debate anyway. And so why do it? Why do it? They can spew they have campaign stops. Trump is using his court cases and his court trial appearances as campaign stops anyway. So do we need to hear the nonsense anymore? I don't know.
ABC News said in a statement the intent was to have a debate fresh off the Iowa caucuses, but that it remained dependent on candidates. Both former President Trump and former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley failed to respond to a given deadline of Tuesday afternoon. So no debate.
Well, there's another debate I feel like that's supposed to be coming later on, maybe next week. So we'll see. Or maybe that's a town hall. I don't know. I like town halls actually better than debates. Because people can stand up. I know they're vetted probably. They get to ask a question. There's a detailed answer instead of this bickering back and forth and name calling. I like that better.
I don't know. I like that ability for a candidate who disagrees with something to be able to stand up and say, listen, so and so, here's what you just said, and here's why I think you're wrong, and point out the differences between the candidates.
Yeah.
We don't get that with those town halls, although I do think they're valuable as well.
Mm-hmm.
Efforts are underway here in California to clear up confusion over the recent Donald Trump ballot eligibility question. State Senator Dave Min is introducing a bill that would give the Secretary of State the authority and the obligation to review a candidate's eligibility before placing them on the presidential ballot. The legislation covers the U.S. Constitution's 14th Amendment, which states, as we know, no person involved in insurrection or rebellion against the United States shall hold the office of president, right? Does it say president? Oh. Wow. Secretary of State Shirley Weber declined to remove Trump from the state's primary ballot, arguing the California Constitution does not give her clear authority to take the action and leaves the decision instead up to the courts. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes.
Yeah, it will.
Navy SEALs on a covert mission have intercepted an Iranian missile component shipment that was headed for Houthi rebels in Yemen. This, according to the U.S. Central Command, they put out a press release saying the SEALs were conducting a nighttime raid on a small sailing boat off the coast of Somalia. The team reportedly seized the components and the warheads for medium-range ballistic missiles, along with anti-ship cruise missiles that were bound for the Iranian-backed Houthis. Apple could see a big hit to sales after the Supreme Court decided not to review a dispute between the tech giant and Fortnite publisher Epic Games, and that leaves in place a lower court's decision that requires changes to certain rules in Apple's App Store. Epic Games filed an antitrust lawsuit in 2020 accusing Apple of being an illegal monopoly because it requires users to download apps only via its app store to buy digital content inside apps using its own system. So.
I understand Apple's viewpoint. It's like, I'm sorry that we're the best, right? But they've set it up that way. They created what they always call that ecosystem. You know what I mean? So it's similar to if you want to be successful, let's say doing a show like this, well, then YouTube is the top platform to use. And you have to go with all of the, what it costs, the take that they have, all those sorts of things if you want to be part of it, because it's the best platform for it. So I get it, but that's interesting. That's a really interesting decision.
California is changing its COVID recommendations. Students who test positive are now allowed to attend school.
Without symptoms and fever and stuff like that, though, right?
Same goes for employees in the workplace. Yeah, but you still have a positive test result.
I know.
You can spreading it all over the place. You know that you don't have to have symptoms in order to spread this thing.
My thing. This is okay. So let's put this from the order to real life. You know what's going to happen? No one's going to say that they have COVID anymore. They're not going to wear you know what's going to happen if you walk. So for instance, when I work at KCBS, I wear a mask because they're all gross. I don't mean that personally, but like I'll get a notification or something. You know what I mean? Like there's microphones. I mean, radio, this. I don't mean KCBS specifically, but radio's gross. Everyone's talking and spitting into the same mic. Yeah. Right. And so I wear a mask as much as possible. I have my own little poof, right, that I put on my microphone to try and reduce my risk. But of course there's a risk. Now, if you go and send your kid to school, Kim, and they never wear a mask before, and then all of a sudden they're wearing a mask, everyone's going to be like, why are you wearing a mask? And the kid's going to say, what? I have COVID? And everyone's going to be like, well, then why the hell are you at school? So I don't know how much this is going to work. I feel like
And your answer would be because the state of California tells me I can be with COVID.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't think it's gonna whatever. I think COVID is going the way of a cold, right? I have a cold, but people still go to work, right? So I know it's not the same as a cold. Don't email me, but I'm just saying I think that the mentality is going that way. Like, oh, it's fine. Just, cover your mouth.
Well,
All
it
right, that's
applies
not
to
gonna work.
those people with no symptoms as long as they wear a mask indoors for 10 days. Those who do feel sick are advised to stay home until they go to 24 hours with no fever. The state health department feels this is a more relaxed approach to isolating and testing.
I feel like I want more information on how long. I want more studies. I want more studies into how long. Okay, for instance, and I know it's not the same, but like if I don't know if you know, Kim, but if you smoke weed, you stay positive for like 30 days, even though you're not high anymore.
Okay.
Are we supposed to think of COVID like that? Like, am I still contagious? Like,
Well, I
obviously you're still
would.
contagious if I have to wear a mask. So then stay the hell home.
So over Thanksgiving break,
Mhm.
for the first time, COVID hit our house. Julia had it.
Right.
And she isolated in her room, and none of the rest of us got it. And
Amazing.
she had cold symptoms, but even at the end, when she was feeling so much better, she was still testing positive.
Mm.
And I still didn't want her
Around
around
people.
because I didn't want her to spread this thing. It wasn't until she tested negative, and they say the CDC recommendation was you need to test positive at least 2 days in a row,
Okay.
or test negative rather, my apologies. You need to test negative at least 2 days in a row before you can stop isolating. And it's
Yeah.
true. She tested negative, and then the next day she tested positive again.
Mm.
And then the next day after that, she tested negative, and then we
So
were
weird.
negative.
Exactly. It's
Okay,
weird,
so
right?
even one negative test isn't enough. And now they're saying, what? Just go on back even if your test is positive?
Well, I think everybody should take my approach. Just imagine everybody being gross and just wear a mask.
Mm.
I'm not wearing it because I have COVID. I am wearing it because I don't want to get COVID. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
and I know nothing's 100%. The vaccine's not 100%. It just reduces the severity of the cold. Like, I understand all of these things. We're so many years into this friggin' COVID BS, but I don't understand people. I cannot understand how people are still so up in arms about having to slap a mask on their face. It's so stupid. Just put it on. It's not that big of a
All I
deal.
can tell you is I'm not going to be the a-hole. If my kid has COVID, even if they have no symptoms, that's going to be sending them back to school. I'm not doing it.
Well, the other parents will. If parents send their kids to school with a cold, and give them Tylenol even though they have a fever, so that they don't have one when they go to school, believe me, Kim,
You're
your
totally
kid
right.
is going to be around people with COVID. It's just the truth. Unless you're going to slap a mask on your kid, no matter
Mhm.
what, your kid is going to get exposed. That's just the truth. That's just the truth.
That push to build a new California city in Solano County
Uh-huh.
takes another step today. There's a ballot measure that will be submitted that could be voted on in November. The company behind the plan wants to turn more than 60,000 acres of Solano County farmland into 50,000 people, eventually growing to 400,000. It would be between Sacramento and San Francisco, right in the Fairfield area, with homes, schools, retail parks, public transit, and at least 15,000 jobs too.
What jobs?
Well, the jobs they create there with
Exactly.
stores and
It's going to take
schools and
forever. It's
a
going
park
to take
service and a
forever.
police department, and
But they have to get approval, right? I mean, this is not definitely happening.
no, it has to go they're saying it needs to go before it could. There's a ballot measure being submitted that could be voted on in November.
You want to
So
bet that it does not pass?
I don't
Who
think it
wants to raise
will.
their hand and say that these
Mhm.
billionaires did it completely the wrong way? They
Yeah.
did, unless they start buying people off, which between now and November, they might be able to. They bought off those farmers for the land, right? Which got them
Mhm.
up in arms. I mean, on one hand, we need housing. On the other hand, this kind of seems a little shady, right? Like, it's like, the way you're doing it is a little weird,
Let's
but
build a perfect village to
it's very
assimilate
quick.
people into.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very, very quick. And so I don't think people are going to do that.
So I'm really excited about this, even though I'm not going to be there to see her. I'm just excited that she's going to be in my county. It is the first lady in
Oh,
California, Dr. Jill Biden.
you don't even want to know who I was thinking.
What did you think I was going to say?
I thought you were talking about Janet Jackson going on tour.
Oh, Janet Jackson is coming to San Francisco's Chase Center. This is true.
Until you said New York neck of the woods, I was like, is it all the way up there?
No, it is not. But Dr. Jill Biden is coming
Okay,
to
that's good
Sonoma
too.
County. In my county. She's going to be next door. Not next
Wow.
door, like
Like your
literally,
mom's
but
house.
figuratively. Exactly. So she landed in San Francisco last night to give a speech this morning. She's headed to a winery, I think, in Healdsburg later this afternoon as well.
Okay.
Then she'll fly to Los Angeles for an event tonight in Burbank. This all for the re-election campaign of her husband. Her week of fundraising includes a return to the Bay Area tomorrow to speak at, it's tomorrow, at another event in Sonoma County. So that's
Okay.
the Healdsburg Winery event where she's going to go. Apparently, I was reading a story in the Press Democrat, and the owner of this winery has been working on this for months and months and months,
I
trying to get her to
bet.
come.
I
So they're
bet.
really excited to have her here. The state's
is exciting.
presidential primary is March 5th. The last day to register to vote is February 20th. So it is coming right up. If you haven't,
Everybody should be registered to vote that
Mhm.
listens to this show. Please do not be one of those people that don't register to vote. Come on.
well, I don't vote because it don't make no difference.
Ugh, whatever. Yeah, that's why they spend so much money on these campaigns. And the funny thing is, I was thinking about this the other day with old Trumper dude, when he was telling people it's okay if you die, just make sure you trudge through the snow to vote for me in the Iowa caucus. Why do you want people to vote Trump? I thought there was a problem with the election. I thought that you couldn't trust the results from elections. I thought all of those things were true. Oh wait, you're full of crap. Yeah, you're full of
It's
crap.
only true if he doesn't win.
loses. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's such BS.
And then everything's okay if he wins.
Yeah, of course I won. Of course. I mean, he's not disputing the Iowa caucus, is he? He's not going to dispute any of the primaries that he may win. None of those are going to be disputed. But if he loses, there is something fishy going on. I cannot understand how people don't see through his BS. Drives me nuts.
So I wasn't going to do this story, and I don't have the information in front of me, but I had to find it.
Okay.
Did you see that the story came out of the state of Virginia yesterday, where they are now admitting that there were about 1,600 votes that here's the story. Okay. There's about 1,600 votes that they have found that were misreported and accidentally added to Trump's total instead of Biden's total, where they should have been. So President Biden actually received 1,648 fewer votes than he should have.
That he always puts out. That would have been so funny.
He should have. Trump was awarded 2,327 too many. This is according to the county director of elections. And they don't think it was malfeasance, but what they say is that they were having trouble with a voting machine situation. They said the reporting errors that they were going through were a consequence of the result tapes not being programmed to a format compatible with state reporting requirements, and attempts to correct the issue that had created errors. The reporting errors did not consistently favor one party or candidate, but were likely due to a lack of proper planning, that a difficult election environment, and human error.
Well, it didn't matter to the outcome of the race there, right? So
it wouldn't have mattered. It would not have mattered to the outcome of the race, but it goes against the whole thing of what Trump was saying. Like, no, the votes were stolen from me. No, actually, you got 2,300 too many, and Biden got 1,600 too few.
But I will say this, just to be devil's advocate, it does go to show that it's not a perfect system. And I'm not saying it is, but that's also, if it was closer, like if the race was closer, they would have found this out way earlier, right? Because there is a way of checking races like this. So
in the end, President Biden beat Trump in Virginia by more than 61,000 votes. So it wouldn't have made a difference, but still is just like another example of people that think it was stolen. You're wrong. We might have discrepancies, but they went the other way in most of the circumstances. So who's really the person who you could accuse of cheating?
Exactly. There's no deep state that's trying to give anybody the election. People are just trying to do their damn job, so leave them alone.
Another honor is in the works for California's longest serving senator. San Francisco International Airport will rename a
Yes.
terminal after the late Dianne Feinstein. Of course, at the age of 90, she died last September and was nominated to become the terminal's namesake in November. The move was approved yesterday. An airport official says Feinstein was committed to making SFO a world-class facility that welcomed all international travelers. So.
Nice. Yeah, I think that that's a great honor for her and everything that she's done for California.
Lastly, sorry, I feel like I'm talking way too long.
No.
The wait is over to find who is playing at California's Coachella. The Coachella
I
Music
thought we
Festival.
do. I keep
I don't
seeing
know.
things.
The legendary music festival back in April. Fans of No Doubt are beyond excited.
Yes.
The
Yes, that's
popular
right.
rock band led by Gwen Stefani is reuniting, and this will mark their first live performance together since 2015. The other 3 headliners include Lana Del Rey,
Oh, I love that.
Doja Cat, and Tyler, the Creator. Other performers will take one of the many stages in Indio during the 2 consecutive weekends.
Yeah, I no. I would not go all the way to India to go to Coachella. It just there's just way too many music festivals up here, like Bottle Rock and all sorts of ones up here that I would rather go to. Lana Del Rey, though, my daughter would freak if I took her to see Lana Del Rey. She loves her, so that'd be fun.
You know what I heard about Coachella? And maybe you could think, oh, you're such an old lady now. What are you saying this for? I was reading that Coachella Music Festival has kind of become a little bit like the Renaissance Fair, in that a lot of people go there and it's like a free sex for all weekend. It's
What?
all like you find the sluttiest outfit you can, and it's all
I
like
thought it
people
was like
hooking up. And
I like the trendy hippy dippy fringe. You could. I do think that you can wear whatever you want. It is
people are
a music
going there.
festival.
They're looking to hook up.
I mean, are people never not looking to hook up? I mean, come on now.
Mm.
I think it's more of a Instagram thing. That's what I see it like. These influencers want to be seen at Coachella. Some of them are just faking being at Coachella.
Yeah.
Another reason why I have zero desire to go. I love music festivals. I love multi-day music festivals. The Roots Festival, the California Roots Festival in Monterey, I believe. Yeah, it's in Monterey. We went last year. We went last year. I don't like the venue. I feel really confined. But the lineup, I mean, Lupe Fiasco is going to be there. I think they also said, and then Burning Spear is going to, it's like it's a mishmash, but a lot of reggae music, which I love. But Reggae on the River was the hands down best music festival I ever went to. And it's just so much fun. I love it. But Coachella, not my cup of tea. And there's no water. I need water.
Blue Spark says, G Kim, I wasn't planning to go, but since you put it that way.
If I can go get a piece of ass, why not?
Don't worry, Blue Spark. I'm here to help you. I'm here
put on half a bikini, put your tinsel crotch front and center, and you should be able to go. So there, exactly. There you go. There's tinsel crotch for you. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, my husband reiterated yesterday after the show. He's like, "You're wrong, tinsel crotch." And I'm like, I didn't say, just to kind of go back. If you missed the conversation, go look for it. I didn't say that it was right that he texted her that. I said it was funny.
No, and I was thinking about this last night, and I thought I really should have clarified that while I think that she, of course, wore the bathing suit
and made the picture and
made
did the whole
picture,
everything
the whole
goes
thing.
so true. Yes.
I feel like men are, especially men, and we all should be, but especially men, have to be more careful with what they say to coworkers in the workplace, and they know this, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so, is it fair? No. That I could probably get away with saying something that a man could not.
Because there's a difference. Well, I mean,
I could also be accused of being inappropriate in the workplace,
I feel like the men
It's
that
happened
know
before.
you, Kim, know that, can take a joke. Again, we're not going to rehash it, Ricky. Don't worry about it.
No.
But I'm just saying, there is a responsibility for the picture poster, and there's a responsibility for the coworker, and we'll leave it at that. So
but men know that in this day and age, they have to bite
your
their
mouth
tongue.
shut.
They have to bite their tongue. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's right. Because it's not worth whatever fallout could come is not going to be.
Say
worth
it to yourself. Say it into the ether. Like when you look at the picture, be like, "Happy New Year, tinsel crotch," and then just say "Happy New Year." Period. Like just don't add a tinsel crotch. There you go.
This report is crowdfunded. It is sponsored by
It is.
you, and we need you to help us do this show and keep it going. Help support the show by donating to the Patreon page or the PayPal page, and you can find all those links at thenikkimedoroshow.com, thenikkimedoroshow.com, and we really appreciate it. The super chat, super stickers are open, and we have to thank Spencer for jumping in with a $5 super sticker off the bat. Keep them honest, Nikki and Kim, and that is what we try to do.
There we go.
I'm Kim McAllister. This is the Nikki Medoro Show.
All right, thank you, Kim. And yes, Chip Franklin will be joining us in a little bit, but I do want to get to this story that I was reading. It was out of The Guardian. And this was the headline: a third of UK teenagers believe climate change is exaggerated.
What?
So, apparently, a lot of them are watching, our host, YouTube, right? They're watching a lot of videos on YouTube. The Center for Countering Digital Hate has found that most climate denial videos on YouTube push the idea, not that climate change isn't happening. Okay, this is the new aspect of it, but that climate solutions do not work, climate science and the climate movement are unreliable, and that the effects of global heating are beneficial or harmless. Another aspect of it is, yes, it's all true, kind of going along with like the mitigation things that we do. That's not going to work, so you might as well just live your life the way that you live it.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you this. There was another headline that I read this morning as I was prepping for the show that like the ice sheets are melting 20% faster than we thought. I understand the idea of like we're just screwed. There's nothing we could do. We've passed the point of no return. But I don't want to give up, and there's a reason why. And if this gives you any sort of optimism, this is what I tell myself. That we are as humans, right? We are a very smart, intelligent, and I will say desperate for preservation species, okay? And who knows what technology, what idea, what's going to come that could fundamentally have an impact on something like climate change. Okay. We just don't know what we don't know yet. Right. I don't think the horse and buggy people saw the cars coming. Right. Like these sorts of things that can fundamentally upend society and how we function could lead to something great. I feel like we watch way too many dystopian movies and read way too many dystopian novels that we just think the worst is going to happen. And I'm not saying climate change is bad. That's not what I'm saying. But where I place my hope is, one, that there's enough of us that do understand that climate change is real, that we try to take big and small steps to mitigate the human impact on climate change. But also that there could be something right around the corner that could save us all, that doesn't require us hopping in a rocket ship and heading to Mars or the moon, right? Like these are the things that I'm thinking of. But what we do have to do is talk to our teenagers. So researchers, again, at CCDH, gathered a data set of text transcripts from more than 12,000 climate-related YouTube videos. They were posted on 96 channels over almost 6 years. Okay, this was between 2018 and 2023. And they found that 31% of UK respondents between the ages of 13 and 17 agreed with the statement, quote, climate change and its effects are being purposefully over-exaggerated. It rose to 37% of teens categorized as heavy users of social media. So that means that they reported using any one platform for more than 4 hours a day. So it says that there is a shift now from the old denial of like, climate change isn't real, it's not really happening, the snowball in the Senate floor, to this new denial of it's not as bad as it is. And even if it is, there's nothing we could do about it. Do you talk to your kids about climate change? I mean, I feel like my kids are fully well aware and educated about climate change, moving to cleaner technologies, those sorts of things. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, my kids eat meat, right? And I was talking about it last week. Meat, the cattle farming does more harm to our environment than cars do. Think about it that way. Okay. So again, on one hand, my kids understand climate change and probably will have, hybrid and or electric vehicles. They, solar, wind, those sorts of things. But these major life changes, i.e. not eating meat, they have not made that transition to.
So my kids know. I went through this roll your eyes at me and call me woke, whatever. I went through this thing at my house where I read this article talking about ways to, and we can never eliminate it, but we can limit it, right? Ways to help limit the amount of nanoparticles, your plastics, you're sucking into your body.
Yes, right. No bottled water.
One of the ways to do this is avoid using plastic cutting boards. So I'm looking around my kitchen and I'm thinking, look at all the plastic stuff I got in my kitchen.
Yep.
And in this, I have 3 small little that came in a set. I remember I got them for Christmas a year ago. They're plastic cutting boards. And then I have another that I thought was silicone, but it turns out to be plastic. And I thought every time we cut on one of those, we're slicing off these little nanoparticles that are ending into our food. Then I have a little colander from Tupperware that I've had for since my 20s, and it's plastic. And every time we dump the noodles in there, the hot noodles, are we getting more plastics into our food? So I go on this kick and I'm telling David, listen, we need to get all the plastic out of the kitchen. And he looks at me like, what? I'm like, we need to get all the plastic.
I love you. You're just like me. James would be like, oh, she's on a friggin' bandwagon again.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so I'm making piles of plastic things in the kitchen. I'm like, do we need this? We don't need this. Let's get a stainless steel one.
You're so funny.
And I go, listen, it's going to be more expensive. And Julia looks at me and she goes, listen, it's in the water, right?
Yep.
The nanoparticles are in the water. So there's nothing you can do that's not going to put it in me. So she knows. Okay.
So she's like, oh, that is the literal mentality I'm talking about out of the study.
That's why I mention it, because
can't get away from it.
And I know that, but I know that it's in the water, and I know, but do you want to have double the dose?
Right.
Because I just sliced on anything helps. We can't get away from it, but we can limit it. So isn't anything better than nothing? I don't know.
I agree with you, but at the same time, I don't feel like we can completely get away from it. It's everywhere.
We can't. But that's the mentality that she comes into it with, where she's looking around going, well, might as well cut it on a plastic cutting board because I'm going to be drinking it in 5 minutes anyway. There's nothing we can do. So I understand the mentality where they're thinking, well, yeah, here it is. I mean, but I think it's being exaggerated? No, probably, if anything, underreported.
Exactly. Like, they don't want to freak us out. You know what I mean? I feel like they put out this like degree of warmth of the ocean thing, which
I love you, Lorraine. Thank you for being my friend in this.
But you know where else? And this was years ago that this came out, of where plastic gets into your body. Those friggin' loofah poofs, things that people use to wash their body.
The what?
Your poofs, you get them from the dollar store to wash your body. They're made of plastic, and they say you scrub and it gets into your skin and then it gets into you. That's what they say. Also, even though I think that California,
these are all these things I don't even think about.
The little exfoliating soaps that have the little balls. Don't use those.
Oh, Jesus.
There's so many ways in which we're turning into corn and plastic. That's what we're turning into. Corn and plastic. There's so much corn, high fructose corn syrup, corn, and then plastic. And then, I don't know, maybe that's how we live forever. I have no idea.
I guess the question is, Vilma writes, our bodies are full of nanoplastics.
Yes.
So does that mean we shouldn't try then?
They also don't know. Another way to make yourself kind of feel better is they don't know the health impacts. They don't. You would assume it's bad. Right? Like, not good, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know. We don't know if that's why, for instance, and I had mentioned this when I was talking about the whole meat thing, I know that there is no correlation, that they don't know why people get something like Crohn's disease. But if you don't think that I feel guilty looking at my daughter who does have an autoimmune disorder and wonder to myself, was it something I did? Was it something that I buy for her all of the time?
Mm-hmm.
Is it something I don't smack out of her friggin' mouth every time she wants to eat it? Like those sorts of things. We want to protect our kids as much as possible. And Gordon, the answer to your question is, we don't exactly know yet.
They think certain kinds of plastics are endocrine disruptors that can change the hormones in your body. And so some of them like I think the BPE kind of plastics have been linked to certain types of cancers and reproductive harm as well. So there are health risks.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, I think most people just don't want to introduce foreign things that aren't meant to be in your body into your body. They don't want it to get into your brain. They don't want it to get it into your blood cells. They don't want it, your cells. They don't want it to turn into plastic. And then how much plastic can your body have? Seriously, and I'm making a joke, but then we're like a portion plastic. That's insane. Yeah, I mean, there's many things. Don says it may mess with your thyroid. And Calvin says you don't have to wonder why non-smokers get lung cancer now. It's plastics. We don't know. And so that's why. But again, going back to this study, you really have to talk to your kids. Look, my kids love YouTube. My son, more than my daughter, I feel like, likes YouTube. He's one of those. It reminds me of when I was a kid, when you'd go to your friend's house and you'd watch them play video games. And you weren't playing. I never played, but I'd watch people play video games. That's what my son likes to do. He likes to watch people create worlds in like Roblox and Fortnite and stuff like that. I don't find the joy. I don't understand the joy, but he does. But, when they're spending so much time on these platforms and they're getting all of this information that may not be, I always have conversations with my kids, obviously, but I could tell when sometimes my son will just ask me this off the wall kind of conspiracy type of question. He's like, well, what about this or that? And I go, where are you getting this information? Where are you hearing this? And then we have a conversation about it. And that's just when he's forthcoming with it because we happen to be having a conversation. Think about all of the times teens just hang out and don't talk to their parents at all about what they're watching and what they're listening to. And as these kids get older, I mean, again, this was 13 to 17-year-olds. One more year for the olders, they're voting. Yeah. They're voting on things, and while I do believe, maybe naively, maybe not, that there's more Greta Thunbergs among this age and this generation than there are of these deniers, these new kind of climate deniers. If that continues to grow, if that continues to be a mentality that is not just spread on social media, but on the schoolyard, right? In classrooms, it could be dangerous. Because I get it. I would love to be able to be in this kind of a hood over my head, blinders on about climate change. I wish that I could be one of these people that's like, no, it's not too bad. It must be nice to live in that world, right? Like, no, it's exaggerated. I live in reality where there are consequences. I see the ocean moving and destroying places that have been standing there for generations and say, see, something's going on. I'll never forget. I mentioned to an old friend of mine, we were talking about the beach and buying beachfront property and things like that. And I was like, no, there's no way in freaking hell I would invest in beachfront property because I don't know, the beach is going to go away soon, right? It's eroding.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm going to invest millions of dollars into this beachfront property. And yet so many people do, Kim. So many people, even when somebody moves out because it's unstable, right? The beach or the cliff is washing away into the ocean. They're like, yeah, but that view. It's like, no, that view is going to go away when your house falls into the ocean, and people just want to put their head in the sand.
There was a time where I would have looked at these properties that are in the middle of, of a forest land or that are perched on a cliff overlooking the crashing sea and thought, ooh, that would be so cool to live there.
Yep.
And now all I look at it and think is, nope, absolutely not. That thing's going down.
Yeah,
either by flames or by, gravity. That thing's going down. Yep.
And again, it is a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Well, let's bring someone onto the show that lives near the beach, even though I'm so jealous about this. I don't know how he feels about this. My friend Chip Franklin. Hello, my friends.
Hello. It's funny about when you talk about, because I live in San Diego, but I live on a hill. That's the thing about California. I grew up on the East Coast, where the beaches and it was all flat. I was watching this documentary on Ghislaine Maxwell, right? The whole thing. And they showed the Palm Beach residence of Jeffrey Epstein. And I'm thinking like, Jesus, that thing's going to be underwater in 50 years.
I think about that all the time. But yes.
You know what I learned? I had a guest on, and actually I was hired to MC an event about climate change. And it was one of the leading guys from Ocean. I'm sorry, I can't remember his name, but so you know what's causing the rise in sea levels mostly? it's not the polar caps melting. It's the thermal expansion. When you heat something up, it expands. So as the oceans heat up, it literally expands.
The ocean's
and so that's
expanding on its
yeah,
own.
that's a big
Okay.
part of this. But I mean, it's.
I mean,
it's
how
not-
engaged are your kids? There was this UK study that I was talking about before I brought you on, where climate deniers are these new deniers are 13 to 17-year-olds that watch too many YouTube climate denial videos. And it's not that they think that climate change isn't real. It's basically either the mitigations don't work or there's nothing we can do anyway. I'm inspired by the younger generation. I hope it's not a lot of them here in the US, especially.
I think that, I mean, you can't. I talk. My sons are in their 30s now, so it's a totally different. They're not, but they're both hard.
Well, they have to be engaged. They're buying homes. Or they're buying beachfront
they're
property.
Totally engaged. Will every day I talk to Will. He's got I don't want to talk about Trump anymore. Can we not talk about Trump? But he's and my other
feel you, kid. I feel
my other son is so hardcore. He thinks it's all over. He's like, you boomers totally effed us. But he's accurate. That's true. We did. But I mean, it's I find it fascinating. I mean, because it's really not hard. You can find the carbon parts per million and see how since the Industrial Revolution it's almost doubled, and where that's headed, and it's an exponential growth. So it's not like we have to wait 200 years for it to double again. It's gonna be bad. And
do you ever do that where they say in 100 years and then you say to yourself, I'll be dead? It's the only comfort is I won't be.
Yeah. And that's so true. I mean, it really
and
is.
It's really dark, but it's just okay, there's not much I could do for it. Then.
Well, I mean, the COVID pandemic, I mean, we're going to have viruses that will flourish in warmer, I mean, and mosquitoes that carry them. I mean, we're going to have a mass migration from the equator north, probably in 75 years. So our grandchildren are going to be in big trouble. So anyway,
happy Wednesday.
On a more positive note, it is. I think that we have a history of being able to fix these things.
That's what I was saying too.
Well,
technology.
The chlorofluorocarbons created a hole in the ozone, and it wasn't just bad for skin cancer for human beings. It was killing algae at sea level, and that of course starts to affect the whole ecosystem in the oceans, which will affect us eventually too. And so we just banned chlorofluorocarbons, and the hole's starting to close.
Exactly.
So we can have an effect. I mean,
but we have to agree on it. You know what I mean? We have to agree. And if we
one of the things Republicans say is that we can't fix things, that the earth is too big for us. And part of that, I mean, we're not saving the planet, we're saving humanity. The planet's going to be fine.
Right.
It's been around for a couple billion years. It's going to be around past us. So.
Well, I mean, I think that my daughters, I apologize. I am totally listening to you. Marley is completely having a breakdown at school. Don't you just love kids? Don't you just love kids?
Sorry.
No.
It's the show while you go deal with it.
No, you want to know what it is? She forgot something in the car. Don't you just love kids? You tell them to remember things a million friggin' times and then they leave things in the car, but whatever. No. There's responsibilities.
Does she knows you're doing the show right now? Does she?
Thank you. She's like, exactly. Like, what am I supposed to do, my child? What am I supposed to do?
What did she forget? Can you tell me?
It's a permission slip. I left the paper.
She can't go on something, or she has to be in today. Is that the deal?
Well, yeah, she's going. You know where she's going? Oh, I don't know. She's going now. She's supposed to go to San Francisco to go see The Wiz.
Huh.
That's a play. She's in the play.
Where's that? Where is it? The Orpheum?
I think it's at the Golden Gate Theater.
The Orpheum's right in the Tenderloin, and you probably
exactly. I'll send her a picture of it. It's fine. She could figure it out. Anyways, okay. I want to talk about DeSantis.
You need to go run that over to her because I can hang out with Chip for a hot second.
Well, I'll take a picture of it. But let me get my conversation going with Chip. Thank you, Kim. I appreciate you to death.
Everybody.
Yeah. Okay. So the New Hampshire debate is not happening on Thursday, tomorrow, because Nikki Haley doesn't want to do it without Trump. Kim was mentioning this earlier. Do you think that it serves any of these candidates to not debate? Besides Trump, Trump doesn't need a debate. He doesn't want to debate. He doesn't want to do any of it. But do you think that's smart for Nikki Haley going for number 2 against DeSantis to not debate?
Well, I think that, DeSantis went off on Truth Social this morning, and he's obviously worried about her, and
he should be.
And I think what happened in the pasty white voting districts. By the way, did you see any of the video of how they collected votes in these precincts for the caucus?
It was like by hand or something, right?
No,
and they put it in like a popcorn bucket.
No, it was worse than that. They had bags like from the grocery store, and they're walking around. People are putting them in there. It looks so safe and secure.
Well, people are watching. I mean, how else are you supposed to collect them? How else? What do you want them to do?
Well, it's
fine.
deposit
box.
I'm saying these are the same people talking out of the other side of their mouth.
True. Yeah.
About election integrity. But bottom line is that I think the first of all, the Iowa caucus. Most people have no idea. They think a caucus is something is an STD or something. They have no idea, right?
Right.
So the idea that that they're voting in these precincts and that the odd calibration of votes to who wins the state. First of all, it's not even it's not even close to what New Hampshire has. New Hampshire, if Trump were to lose New Hampshire or come exceedingly close to Haley in this, that'll change everything. And when DeSantis drops out, which is going to be soon, I think.
You think he's going to drop out?
Oh yeah. It's like, it's just so expensive doing these things,
Yeah, but I mean, he's not okay. When do you think how soon do you think he's going to drop out? If he loses New Hampshire, you think he'll drop out?
I
mean, number two doesn't come in.
Trying to hang on to Super Tuesday with the hope that Super Tuesday will help him, but that's a month away, right? So I mean, I don't think that he has the money. It's expensive. I think Trump's short on money. I think they all are. The Koch brothers and the others. There's a real sense of a palpable sense of concern of what's going to happen should Trump be reelected, become president again, and what that would mean to our economy, the world, the whole. Everybody's beginning to have these whispering conversations just about how dangerous this is. Really.
Now we're going to have these whispering conversations. The guy should not. I've said
you and I know this, but I'm just saying that in their circle, they're trying to achieve. They have ends, and they use Trump as a means to those ends, right? So they don't, in their mind, it's controllable, but it literally is, like driving a car without brakes. And hitting the gas, saying, "Well, we'll get there faster," but they're not thinking about what happens when they get there.
I feel like the GOP. Back in 2016 was hoping that Trump wasn't going to win. Then he did. And then obviously he lost to Biden. But
other than Chris Christie, has there been a moderate Republican that made sense? I can't think of one.
Well, again, I'm not a Republican, so I disagree with them, right? So I disagree with their platform. But I was not that I would vote for him again, but Asa Hutchinson, right? Liz Cheney, not that she's a moderate, but at least she's sane.
She's sane, but she's also her policies are
again. I don't agree with her policies, but at least you believe in democracy.
Look at what they're doing with child labor laws right now in the House. Okay, they're expanding access to young people to work shifts that adults used to work, sometimes dangerous shifts, and they're basing it all on immigration. I don't know if you saw Moskowitz this morning. It was awesome on the House floor. He was saying, he goes, "Wait a second, you're telling me that Obama deported more people in one quarter than Trump did his whole presidency.
Yeah.
And you're saying this problem just started when Biden came into office, and the idea that, of course, obviously this is not about the border. It's about the color of the people that want to come here and the fact
it's politics. They don't want to solve the problem. They have zero desire to solve the problem.
Well, the fact that they won't fund border legislation.
Exactly.
Is all you have to know, right?
Exactly.
So,
you heard Laura Ingraham came out and even said it. She said it out loud. She's like, we're not going to let Biden have a victory lap. Oh, so it's not a crisis. Because if it was a crisis, you'd want to solve it no matter who's in the White House.
And I love Iowa, which is like 106% white, talking about people coming there, to work. The truth is they don't have the kind of agriculture that demands the kind of labor that California or Colorado or these other states have. And without immigration, without an increase in immigration, our economy is doomed. We are, our biggest export right now is food. And if we don't have that, within what, we're not a manufacturing country anymore for a lot of reasons. And I think, and if the fact that they mock electric cars while you were talking about climate change, is just another right-hand turn.
Well, we have to figure out electricity. Here in California, you're not on PG&E down in Southern California, but, I
get 50 solar panels on my roof. I haven't had an electric bill in 15 years. What are you flipping me off for?
We can't get it up here. We are getting screwed so badly by PG&E up here. It is so annoying. So I'm just jealous. That was a jealous flip off. It was all love. That was all love, all in that finger. But yeah, I mean, I feel like we need to figure out our electricity grid, right? You can't have rolling blackouts and have all these people on electric cars. I do feel like, I don't know if you saw the headline today, all these Teslas have been frozen. They're not doing well. They're not charging. Like there's infrastructure issues we have. And I'm just going to talk about California specifically regarding moving to electric, wind, solar, and stuff like that. But if we could work that out, if we could work and make it affordable and not screw low income people and make it affordable for everybody, then yes, we should definitely do that. But Republicans are going to not want to do it because they're in the pocket of gas, oil, and all of that.
I think that, in some ways, and I'm a big part of this, we blew it. That means Democrats and liberals in the 70s by totally trashing nuclear instead of trying to find, theoretically, with all this work, we might be able to create a fusion reactor, which has the only byproduct is, I believe, helium and nitrogen. Somebody will call it maybe oxygen. I forget the second one, but nonetheless, the waste problem with nuclear plants, and people talk, oh, what if one imploded? Well, I think climate change is producing the kind of results that we worried about in the 70s from a nuclear reactor, which is strangling our environment.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know what, I'm not going to pretend I understand. I know there hadn't been a new nuclear reactor built in this country in almost 40 years.
Wow.
So, we have to figure out a way to be able to create energy. I mean, and, so with combinations, we have Trump making his, talking about wind and,
Exactly. I mean,
if you want to have fun, go to YouTube and put Trump and solar in YouTube. Remember that shit?
No.
Anyway, but I think though that there is obviously, one of the most powerful forces we can create is conservation. And so, and that's to me, like we're turning, I saw the story on CBS Sunday Morning about in the Midwest, they're taking urine and turning it into people show up with gallons of their own urine and they pasteurize it and they can use it as like a fertilizer. And it's amazing.
Oh, that makes sense. I mean, as long as it's fertilizer. I mean, I was already trying to sell Kim on the whole, wastewater to water thing. Kim's not a fan. I have no problem with it. Just don't tell me all the time, right? Just give me clean water. Tell me it's safe, and I'll just drink it. I don't need the advertising. That this is.
Hey, look, I'll pour an IPA on my cereal, right? By the way, I stopped drinking. I'm doing dry January, and
that sucks. No,
I don't.
Good on you. Good on you. I'm just making a joke.
I don't miss it at all. I really don't. It's amazing.
I don't drink during the week anymore
or anything, but I was drinking 2 to 3 drinks a day. That's not healthy, No,
I don't drink during the weekend. Well, I don't drink Monday through Thursday. The weekend is Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But I haven't been doing that for a while. I just drink vodka. I just drink club soda and ginger beer, which is my drink. And then on the weekend I add vodka to it, and or bourbon, and then I'm good to go. But good. So you're dry January. Any other resolutions for you?
It's not really resolution. I mean, I'm doing it. And Wendy keeps talking about like, do you about when February comes, and I said, what I do is at about 5 o'clock when I take about a quarter of an edible, so maybe about 1.5 milligrams THC, and I get that nice little warm buzz, so I can watch, a replay of Rachel Maddow, right? And I watch that, and that takes the edge off just the horrible news I hear every night.
I know.
But and then I'll have the rest of it later on. It's like and these are ones full of melanoma, so they're not like. I'm not supposed to get real high and crazy, and I don't really get high. I just get tired, kind of.
And then go to bed.
I don't want to smoke, so but I bring all that up because I think that hidden inside of all these problems we have are the answers, and they're really simple. And I like when people talk to me about Trump and his economy, and of course, I start out by saying, do you know what a GDP is? That's a measure of our growth, right?
Right.
Trump never had a 3% growth ever, right? Clinton and Obama and even Bush all had above 4% at times, right? And Biden's had 4.5%, right? So in 4 quarters. So I mean, obviously, and a lot of that, was not Trump's fault. The last year, of course, with the the recession and everything. But he tries to take credit for the low gas prices when nobody was driving, but he won't, again. they understand that's politics. But when you explain, when you explain to people about tax cuts for corporations and how that's supposed to create jobs, I just ask people that. I say, look, if somebody gave you a huge sum of money, would your first instinct be to give it to somebody else? And that's what they're saying. They go, oh, we're going to go hire more people that we don't need. They're not going to do that.
No.
So anyway, so like a part of if you break it down and try to have a conversation with people about the economy, and the border is a great example too, right? We until like in the 80s, people used to come back and forth across the border all the time.
Yes.
They didn't want to stay in the United States. Jesus, right? Who would?
They want to go home to their family and all that. Yeah.
And all these people from Central America that are coming up are coming up because we effed around with their governments for decades. We still have military, U.S. military, assisting people, these dictators, these anti-democratic people who are friendly to U.S. businesses. We still are supporting those people in places like Honduras. So it makes sense why these gangs take over. These people just want to get the hell out of here. Look, I've got to tell you, when I look at Marjorie Taylor Greene and that hillbilly swamp trash, right? And then I look at a mom who takes 4 kids and walks 500 miles. Who do I want in this country?
Exactly.
It's not even close.
Not even
right?
close. I mean, so it's frustrating. And again, I worry.
By the way, I never call her Marjorie Taylor Greene. My name now is it's Dairy Queen. That's
Dairy Queen. Is that what you call it? I don't like to call her anything. I don't like to talk about. I mean, she's such an idiot.
Did you hear what she said today?
No, I don't.
It's frightening as hell. No, she wants to cut funding for laboratories that create vaccines.
Of course she does. Of course she does. She's an idiot because
and Rand Paul said today he wants to put Fauci in prison.
Of course they do. But it's all talking points.
He's a doctor. He's an optometrist. He can't get a job at a sunglass hut. Okay, this guy's the biggest phony But again, it's from Tennessee. So only thing we get from Tennessee that's good is country music.
And there you go. Nashville, Tennessee. Okay, I have to send a picture. Okay, I'm bringing Kim McAllister onto the show. Just real quickly, I'm going to run and take a quick picture. Then I'm going to be back. I want you to know while I'm running.
Yes.
To talk to Chip. What is coming up? Now, what?
We can handle it. Just go do your thing.
I don't know if you're able to do this without me, but okay. Go.
I got Chip Franklin, the pro over here.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
So you it's interesting, like from when you used to do the news into what you're doing now, right? Which is the news, and also in an environment where nobody questions what you lead with. I remember, watching news. I was in, I started talk radio in 92, right?
Wow.
And I remember, watching news directors give, some of the anchors a hard time about what they led with. And, there's always the idea about leading local and and obviously, now people can watch this in Bangladesh if they want to, right? So it's not, but most of the people that watch this that are with us right now are in the Bay Area. And
I think so. So I like to keep a lot of things local still. Yeah.
And San Francisco is actually, in a lot of ways, for a lot of people on the right, a metaphor of what's wrong with liberalism and progressive policies. When, ironically, I think it's the exact opposite. I think the problems that we have in San Francisco start with the Reagan era policies of incarcerating people for drugs instead of trying to help them, right? And also, of course, the anti-gay AIDS things of the 80s as well, which led to meccas like San Francisco being formed, places where people could come together. I mean, there's no reason why gay people should have to travel across the country to get away from prejudice and bigotry, but that's what's happened in many. So you see places like the Castro, which is now, it kills me, and that's, people might get pissed, and I don't mean to upset anybody, but the Castro has become gentrified because gay people have been there's, at least in California, there's less of the negative attitudes and behavior towards gay people that there was in the 80s. I was just talking about how, leading with local news and stuff. Nikki's back there. How did it work out? Everything okay?
Kids make people lose their hair. I'm just saying. I know that you had 2 sons. They're in the 30s. You lost all your hair. I swear to God, I could bring the necks.
I want her to go see The Wiz, though. That sounds really cool.
She puts the friggin' permission slip in the side door, because that's how you're going to remember anything. I just, part of me didn't want to see the picture. I didn't want to.
How old is she? Marley?
14. 14.
14. I remember when she was
pulling hair out age. Yes.
So when I met you in 2014. So wow. So 10 years ago. So she was
So she was 5?
Yeah. Wow. I remember the stories too. That's so funny.
I'm just telling you, there's part of me that was like, sorry, you don't get to see the whiz.
So
Am I wrong here? Am I wrong here? Am I wrong here? No.
What I love about her, though, is that she's honest about it, because there was a moment where I would have just signed the name and turned it in.
Oh, no, she didn't have the actual friggin' paper.
Oh.
They would have known that she didn't have it. Like,
Can't you just get another one?
How's the parent going to sign it if she's already at school? She's leaving today. She's leaving in 30 minutes, Kim. This is the responsibility of a child.
Yeah. You took a picture and send it in?
I hope that works. And she's calling me. Like, she knows I'm freaking. This is kids. This is the ego of children. Is that like, I'm doing nothing but
living to serve her.
Yeah. Is this possibly just a woman thing?
Do I need to bring out the finger again? Do I need to bring out the finger?
People that don't know, I grew up with 4 older sisters and a single mom. Right? I didn't go to the bathroom for 14 years. Okay. It was that I remember listening to those conversations, and I'm still close to all my sisters, and it's interesting to see as they have kids and grandkids. I'm the only one without grandkids, and
soon though you're gonna have babies soon, grandbabies.
They talk about it, but they don't have any money. That's a whole nother thing.
That doesn't matter. People have sex though. Sex is free.
I know, but guess what? They're gonna come to me. I paid for the wedding. Okay, I'm not gonna be, and like. Wendy and I want to do stuff, and I don't want to be them dropping the kid off every day. And so
you will. When they have the baby, you're going to want that baby in your arms all of the time.
No, you know how close I am to Mexico. I told you. Okay.
No, have you seen Brian Copeland with Nora, his grandbaby?
I talked to him the other day. Yeah. Brian, so in love with that baby. Yeah.
That is just
so cute.
When I had kids, my mom, who lives right next door, said, listen, I will babysit for you, but not every day. You can have me, and my sister has kids too and lives nearby. She goes, you can have me 1, maybe 2 days a week.
Oh, that's nice.
But she said, but I can't do it every day because I need a life too.
Yeah, and I get that. I get that. My dad would babysit when I first moved back and I got the job at KGO. My dad came over every day and babysat the kids for a couple hours till my husband got home. And he loved it. I mean, it was a bonding experience. Yeah. But I leaned on my friend who was a stay-at-home mom. Kids, though, but teenage years, Chip.
Well, did you feel it was any different when you turned 50, Nikki? Was it harder?
Shut up. I'm not 50 yet. I just turned 45. Screw you. Not that 50 is old. I'm looking forward to it. It's life.
Now tell me you're not getting shorter. Are you getting older? Have you?
No, I'm not. Not yet, but my mom is. My mom and me are twins, basically. And I look at her, I'm like, you're shrinking. She's shrinking. And I'm like, we don't have very far to go to the ground. So I don't know how much more we can shrink.
I used to be 6'2", and I'm 5'11" and a half now. So I'm under 6. So that's 2 inches, man. That's a lot of shrinking. But it's mostly because I have nothing between my vertebrae. If I'm I've ran long distance for so long. I just pounded my vertebrae together.
Yeah, that's why I don't run.
Almost 2 inches for that. But,
That's why I don't run. I don't need to shrink anymore. I'm not even that tall to begin with. So all the steps, I should hang upside down. And then I hear that stretches you out.
Yeah. Hey, wait, have you been talking a lot about Ozempic? And
we've had our converse. I know some people on Ozempic. I'm sure you down in Southern California.
I know a lot of people. I think Trump was on Ozempic. Seriously.
No, he was not. He does not look good at all.
Oh, he's lost some weight. No, he's definitely lost weight. Oh, no, the skin is sagging and stuff.
That's because he's old. It's separated from the skeleton.
I really do think he's on Ozempic. I do.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I have no problem. I mean, I have no skin in the game. I have friends that are on it. I don't know. I think that, we've been wanting something that's easy for people to help them lose weight. And if this is it and the side effects aren't too bad, but I've heard that some of the side effects.
So here's what I did. Did I tell you this story? And this is not talking out of school. I have a friend who is in sales for Ozempic, or the parent company. And she was telling me that, the FDA was about to release, this is back, they're okay. And the stock was about 87 per share. And she said, you really should buy some stock. And I'm like,
really?
Yeah. So I bought like $30,000 worth of stock, and it doubled. It went from, it didn't double. It went from 86 to 137, I think.
Yeah, that's really good.
And it bounced back a little, teeny bit. But it's interesting because And then I sold the stock, right? So I mean, I sold it I sold it right before it peaked. But the old saying is nobody ever went broke making a profit, right?
Right.
And but I look at that and I think to myself, that this whole concept was about American health and who we are and what we are moving forward. And there's really, it's interesting because I know that like when Oprah said she went on it,
it looks great.
Yeah. But I mean, I think part of it is that it's just, it's another one of these things that we don't really discuss about, the pharma industry. I'm a big fan of big pharma. I think it does a lot. I think that there's bad people in it. Like what's a Scarelli guy, whatever that guy's name is.
Well, that's the part that I think people don't. Of course, I like the people that make all of the drugs that solve that cure cancer and things like that. I don't like the money. The fact that people can't afford it, the fact that you're going to charge $1,000 per pill. I don't like that.
It takes money to research and develop all that stuff.
Yeah,
right?
but then there's profit. I mean, if people are getting insanely rich off of it, and I'm not against wealth. I'm just, if you go into a business to save lives, then save the friggin' lives. That's what.
Well, they did. I mean, we've saved millions.
Not if you can't afford it. Not if you can't afford it.
Well, no, with Moderna and with Moderna and Pfizer,
Oh, yes.
J&J. But I mean, I think, but that's why I like the developments there. I would like to see, this is a problem. Of course, healthcare should be free to all Americans, and we'll make just like 5 less bombers that year. Do we need all those aircraft carriers?
They're just collecting dust, a lot of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think I read something like that. Just one bomber is I think one bomber would be enough for healthcare for like a third of the United States people that can't afford it now. Just one bomber.
But then we would have to take money out of that. What do they call that? That dark budget for defense. Like we don't even know where all the money that we're putting. We always have money for war. Always have money for war.
Yeah, of course we do. And and it's like, who are we fighting right now? Who is our,
and why are we fighting? And all those sorts of things.
Do you have conversations about Gaza and Israel?
Or so at the beginning of the show, I didn't. So tomorrow, and we talked about this, Chip, before about how it's kind of that rail that you don't necessarily want to put your hand on, but I'm going to do it. I have this guy by the name of Amir Azar. And he's a Palestinian, a comedian, a writer. He's a law professor. He was also a surrogate in Dearborn, Michigan.
Palestinian comedian?
Yeah. He was a surrogate for Bernie Sanders in Dearborn, Michigan, when Bernie Sanders was running for president. Like he, talked about him and everything. And so I'm bringing him on. And he has his own perspective about it. And I'm a little nervous because I teased this yesterday, Chip, and I already received emails.
Sure.
So I'm
just
trusting my audience to be respectful and to listen.
It kills me when I see Americans talk about the Middle East, and I'm like, why don't you put your little cross on and go and spend a couple of weeks in Gaza and see how that works out for you?
I mean, I want to listen. I feel like we hear a lot, regarding Israel, and I understand why.
It shouldn't be carpet bombing. Okay. I'm not for that.
Yes.
But I also know that there's one country that doesn't kill you for being different than everybody else. And then there's the rest of the Middle East. I mean, tell me I'm a liar.
I just want to, my number one question that I want to ask him tomorrow is, everyone keeps saying free Palestine, free Palestine. What does that look like to you?
And what
does that look like? And who's going to be the government? Who's going to run, who's going to run it? Who's going to provide, all of these sorts of things? That's what I want to, because I feel like people just say things and then it's like, okay, well, what does that mean? What does that mean?
When you say free Palestine, you're really talking to Hamas. You're not talking to Israel.
So
they're the ones that have them by the short ones.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I'm just, I'm a little nervous about it. I'll be honest. I'm nervous because, again, I'm not an expert in Middle East relations. I'm not a historian on Israeli-Palestinian relations. I'm taking it as the, not ignorant and bad, but the ignorant American that lives here and has no idea what life is like over there.
So I've been doing stand-up recently, and my Israel joke. Do you know that joke?
No, God,
I used to. Well, no, it's a funny joke, but it just like the joke was I when I lived in DC, I lived on Embassy Row, and my neighbors were the Israeli embassy, and they're really nice people. But every day their fence kept coming more and more into my yard, right? It's a funny joke, and so I did it, and I did it at this club in San Diego, and as people at me, and I go, I'm not going to curse on the show, but at some point, when you're talking about if you want to talk about the world, and again, the guy afterwards, the comedy club owner, that was a funny joke, but you really shouldn't alienate the audience. And I go, this is the millennials. These are these people out there that have no clue, that don't think things through. They hear something and they react immediately. If you're a millennial,
well, I mean, I'm not everybody that's a millennial, but what I will say is sometimes I feel like people take a stance, and then when you scratch the surface of why and what does that mean and what does that look like and how does that happen, there's no real answer. It's just like, for instance, free Palestine. Okay, how do you do it? What does that look like? Who's going to all these questions, the nuts and bolts, nobody has an answer to. And it's like, well, that's not reality then. Like, I want to know. So I'm going to come with some questions. People are already emailing me. Some people are saying that it's going to be an interview with a terrorist, which Amir Czar is not. He's American also. So it's just, I don't know. We'll see how it goes tomorrow. It might be an S show. Who knows?
Well, I mean, ask him this, and you know how I feel about, organized religion.
I know.
I love the fact that they talk about the Holy Land. It's, first of all, everybody over there except the Persians are all Semitic. They're all it's all the same. There's no difference. All the people are the same, right? And and I look at this and I think to myself, okay, so pull out organized religion and put these people together, and they could have the most industrialized and wealthy society in the history of man. Right? I mean,
yeah, but that's never going to happen. I mean, that you're talking fairy tales.
Yeah. If you print that in a newspaper, MBS will cut you up into small pieces and send you. So yeah, there's obviously a lot wrong there. But I mean, everybody. I grew up in DC, and I met 1,000 people from everywhere from Qatar to Qatar, now they go to Persians from Iran after the Shah was, before he was kicked out and after he was thrown out. And they're wonderful people, and they loved America, and they loved, the promise of America. And I think that's the thing, is that the promise of America is what people should be saying, because we're still so unrealized, but that's a good thing. And that's a problem. Good. I agree with Ricky. It really does. I do think that there's something here that, I should be more funny here. I'm sorry to get all serious with you, but
no, please.
I look at what's happening in Ukraine is the first war since Korea that I really believe the United States should be involved in. I mean, it's a clear,
yes.
If we do not support them, then NATO's and
but when does it end? I think that the problem I have with something like Ukraine is, what is the end game? And is America supposed to be the military for every country? Because the thinking with Ukraine is, if we stop supporting them and nobody steps in to financially support them with arms or whatever, then they're going under. Well, that can't be our responsibility either. So there has to be an answer there. I don't want decades-long wars that America's in. I don't.
Well, I think we saw, in the early '80s or in the late '70s, when the Soviet Union was untethered, and they just rolled through Eastern Europe and created these satellite states, and of course, they pinched their resources to help their BS economy. They're going to have to figure out what to do with Putin. If they want to join the world community again, they're going to have to. Is there a threat of a nuclear war out of all this? I don't know. I mean, I hope not, but I think that that they have a whole lot more to lose than we do. And I think that when you look at the world and the problems we have, at some point, you have to say, you just point fingers and you say, there's overwhelming consensus that Putin is a bad person, and that and again, Trump maintains a relationship with them. Yes. Trump still tries to get hotels built over there. God knows how much information he's given them. They've given him money. To me, the greatest story about Trump and the Russians was that Florida piece of property he had that he bought for $2 million and sold for 10 to the fertilizer king from Russia. And then the guy torn the house down. It's money laundering, pure and simple, But
yeah. Maud says they're not going under alone, Nikki. They'll take that side of the planet with them if Russia is not stopped. I agree, but what's the out? You know what I mean? Like, how do we get out? It can't be another Afghanistan, right?
We just make it too hard for them to continue, and they stop. And that's how it works. We're not going to invade Moscow and go in there and interrupt all their food lines.
Until he runs out of money. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so you are joining us every Wednesday, and I love it. Next Wednesday is insane. You know what I love? I was telling Kim about the show. I love doing the show from home, but you know, it's fun. But the thing is, you're at the beck and call of these internet people. So next Wednesday, just to give you a live head up, Xfinity, I have like 3 interviews, you and 2 other interviews next Wednesday. Your internet might be down on Wednesday. So keep that in mind. I might be glitchy. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I like
what's wrong with, what are they telling you?
That we're going to be working to make the internet better in your neighborhood. So you may experience some outages. What am I supposed to do with that? What am I supposed to do with that?
What are they going to do? Go in and like get rid of the Drudge Report and it'll be better? Is that the idea?
Could have been my show. No, yeah, they're like we're going to make everything we're going to make everything better for you, and I'm like, okay, whatever. So we might be glitchy next Wednesday, but that's next Wednesday.
All right, we'll be here to handle it just like we were today, right, Chip?
Exactly. So yeah, Chip Wednesdays, we love it. Okay, so now have you launched? You have Mr. IQ.
No, we're getting close. It's February 1st. So I'm gonna.
February 1st. Okay, so a couple more weeks.
Yeah, I'm recording. I got this incredible guy. He's a professor of neuroscience, and we're going to talk about. My first question to him is: all right, you just pull the plug on me, right? Mm-hmm. And now, what's going on in my brain? You know, over the next 4 or 5 minutes. I mean, seriously, and just the idea of, you know, can we replicate the brain? Is the brain? I mean, do we have the kind of technology?
And whose brain are we going to replicate?
Well, I mean, yeah, just the whole idea. I mean, they're already trying that now, but understanding, you know, what consciousness is. We all talk about, you know, looking at space and trying to understand the world around us, and we operate on this concept of consciousness. Well, is it just a human thing? Do other creatures have? And are we still evolving? And if we are, in what ways? And is evolution always, especially with our, you know, the abilities to be able to deal with change, which is, you know, part of evolution, right? Things change, you have to adapt, and all that stuff. So I'm really excited about that. And then I got another guy talking about AI who kind of agrees with me that it's overblown.
If he agrees with you, I don't know, man.
The vast majority of AI is actually going to improve our lives tremendously.
Well, yeah, but like, can we use AI for things that help all of humanity? Do we really need, you know, AI for some of these BS type of things that are going to get rid of human jobs? Like, I want AI to be something that makes society better, not that makes human beings obsolete. How about that?
All right, well, so, but that's happened since day one. Do you know what Luddites were?
Yes.
Okay, so, but I mean, literally what a Luddite was?
Yes, it was people. Well, I mean, it wasn't necessarily that they were anti-technology. They were anti-replacement of people for certain jobs. Right. Yes.
So but what they did, they said, we want to keep our jobs, and you created a technology that hurts our jobs.
Exactly.
So that's happened since time immemorial, you know?
Oh, but that's in my opinion, an asinine thing to say as if we have no control. Oh my God, sorry, we created this technology that makes people obsolete. How about not doing that? How about not implementing the technology that's going to make human beings obsolete? It's not as if we do not have an active role in the creation and decision.
This is the Nikki Medoro show, reporting live from her cave. Jesus.
Oh, stop. If you want to call me a Luddite, call me a Luddite. But when your ass is on the curb looking at a robot do your job, but you're like, I wish I had some control over this. You do.
I'm an old guy, and I've never had one job in my life. And I enjoyed it. I like the learning curve. I think that's the greatest thing you can teach a kid is to be curious, right? And I was always, you know, why not? Why can't I do that? And it drives my wife crazy. She goes, you know, you can't do everything you think you can do. And I go, but I won't know until I try. In the process of trying to do it.
I love your wife. That's
why is Suzanne Somers haunting? What is that? I didn't.
I didn't have time to get to it. We'll get to that tomorrow. So apparently, just let's tease this. We'll talk about it more tomorrow.
I met her once. I flew next to her on an airplane.
Apparently, she had a really active sex life with her husband, which I love. Like they were never separated by more than a year or an hour. Story. Yeah, they had a great love story. Well, apparently she is. I use the word haunting, but she's showing up. Like her widow is just. She is here. I'm sure this makes you like roll your eyes, but she's here. Like there's hummingbirds, I guess, like landing on photographs. He actually feels her presence. You're not buying it?
Just as a specialized thigh master.
I'm telling you, I believe in that stuff. I do. I absolutely. I told Kim yesterday, we were talking about funerals. I'm haunting people. I'm gonna haunt people as much as possible. Yeah. Why not? What else do I have to do in my afterlife? But get some enjoyment out of it.
Nikki, after a head injury, rest,
You were literally just talking about what happens to my brain 5 minutes after.
And then you're talking crazy stuff like about ghosts and spirits and stuff.
Why not? Why not?
Yes, yeah, I know. I mean, but
why not? It's not. Energy is never created or destroyed. It only changes form. So my form is going to be.
I have no doubt.
Ass.
I'm a believer that we probably know 1%, if no 1/100th of 1% of what there is to know.
Exactly.
But I love what human beings like Nikki Medoro and others do. If the stuff they don't know, then they just make up something and then ascribe that as truth and just
no, I don't. I'm not ascribing it as truth. I'm saying I choose to believe something. I'm not going to make it law, but if I believe that there is an afterlife or that I can haunt you, totally doing it.
Well, you've already started on the haunting part, so we're all. I mean,
don't you want your loved ones to move on though?
No, my husband's getting in the casket when I die. Let's go.
Let's just think about. Wouldn't you want him to? Move on with life, maybe find a new love.
No.
We
had this conversation before.
Well, like what Joanne says, I felt the presence of my husband after he died. That's in her brain. And it's not any less real that it didn't happen.
But who says it's just in her brain?
Yeah. Maybe it isn't just in her brain. Maybe it is. Maybe there was some kind of energy thing going on.
Why is the truth that it's zero any less likely or more likely than believing that there's a presence still there? We don't know. We don't. And I know that, near-death experiences and the light that you see or whatever could be movie, could be hearing other people's stories. I like the idea of their being
I fell asleep once and deep sleep, and I saw the light. And I told Wendy, pull the blinds. Will you? Come on. I'm trying to catch some Z's. Hey, so when are we going to find out whether Marley got to go? Have you got a note back?
No, of course not, because she's a pain in my ass. No, she leaves me on red. That's it.
Yeah.
I sent pictures of the front and back of the permission slip, and I said, because I have to be mom guilt, putting it in the side door was probably not the best idea. How about holding it or putting it in your backpack? And I think it was Phineas. You should teach him a lesson. Believe me, I was ignoring her for quite a while, as you saw.
Did she have a boyfriend yet?
Oh, God, no.
What do you mean, God, no?
No.
You don't think she's looking at boys? Come on.
No.
Yes, then she definitely.
No, she has guy friends and girlfriends and things like that. But no. Not yet. I know my daughter. She's not there yet. Not yet. Not. Now, I'm not saying that it's not coming from the other way. I'm just saying no.
I'm just saying that the money 14. That they won in the stock market, I would bet that you're wrong. No,
really?
No, I know my daughter, and you don't think that I'm snooping?
I just mean that she probably at this point is whispers with her friends about that guy's cute, that kind of stuff.
Oh, she tells me, you know who's hot? Does it matter? I don't think anybody from her school watches my show. She thinks her Spanish teacher is hot, and he is really good looking. I will say that. He's old, but for a Spanish teacher, it's not a bad looking dude. And then there's a sub that's apparently pretty cute. But other than that, no boys that she goes to school with. No.
Well, good.
I don't need to lose any more of my hair, have any more of it turn gray. Okay, so let's just.
You're losing hair?
God, my hair's gotten so thin. I'm
really?
45, my friend. I swear, my back hurts all the. I had to sit and watch television with one of those back rollers the other day, just because every time I stood up, my
old lady
back was killing me.
Wow.
Yeah. I know. It sucks getting old. How's it feel, Chip? I mean, are you used to it by now?
Baby, you're looking at. I'm in the best shape of my life. Seriously.
You always say that.
I am the best shape of my life.
You're just shrinking from your running.
Him like Baywatch in San Diego, or what was that show? Yeah,
Baywatch.
Yeah, in slow-mo. In a red banana hammock running down the beach in San Diego. That's
nobody wants to see that. No, nobody wants to see a banana hammock at all. Tinsel crotch over here.
Guys are going to come visit us here and do the show from here in San Diego.
San Diego would be fun. And Kim, he has a nice studio, so he has all the fancy schmancy equipment down there.
Fancy, I got one of the. So Hammer and I are trying to work.
Yeah, so that's going to definitely happen.
I don't know. No, I have no idea, but we'll see.
Well, yeah. I love catching up with you.
Tinsel banana crop. Yeah, you guys see that story?
Yes, we talked about it all day. We went to town on this yesterday. Just real quick, we're taking a poll. Who was in the wrong in that situation? In your opinion, who was in the wrong?
Oh, you mean referring to it as tinsel pencil crotch?
Tinsel crotch. Happy New Year, tinsel crotch. That's what Chris Cuomo wrote to Angela Rye. Who was in the wrong? Her for posting a crotch forward picture, or him for texting tinsel crotch?
You know what I think it is? It's the sound of the crotch. Crotch is one of those words that people go, you know what I mean? It's like snatch, right?
Well,
snatch,
what are you going to call her? Tinsel twat? Like, although it rolls off the tongue funny too. Way better.
Twat is great, but I don't think I tried to say twat on here once when Hammer had a heart attack. You know,
tinsel twat. I like tinsel twat. That's better.
Twat is not in the Carlin's 7 words, and it's a great word. You know? I mean, it's actually, you know, if you think about it, tits doesn't belong on that thing either.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So
I mean,
to answer your question, I think, you know, I would have chosen some other phrase, but is it?
I would have just said Happy New Year and not said the tinsel crotch, because it's not necessarily nice, and it seems overly friendly with a coworker. Like if it was my best friend, or like 2 guys together, whatever, like but that was a little too playful for Chris Cuomo. On the other hand, a crotch forward tinsely picture, probably not the best idea. So don't take pictures crotch forward. All right, you. We will talk next Wednesday. I love having you on. Go to chipfranklin.com. Email him at chip@chipfranklin.com. I always love having you on. Thank you.
And subscribe to my YouTube too. So
yes. So then they just go to Chip Franklin. If you Google the name Chip Franklin, I think a million things come up in Google. So there you go.
Are you trying to, which one do you want us to subscribe to? Because you have a couple out there, right?
Go to chipfranklintinselcrotch.com.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Click like and subscribe.
Yeah, just go to chipfranklin.com.
Yeah,
it's all right.
Yeah, you need to. You can find me. All right.
Bad
girls.
I'll see you later.
Bad
Bye.
1, bad 2, bad 1, bad 2. See you guys.
Bye. That's Chip Franklin. I love having him on. It's always too much fun. Kim's like, twat is the past tense of tweet.
I try to be very quiet when he's on, because if I don't say much, he says a lot, and I love it when he just goes. He'll just like
just
go.
That's what we love about Chip Franklin. I'm telling you, last week when he was on, so I pull videos. If you guys ever like some of the funny conversations, I turn them into shorts, and then I'll pull the longer form for the video section of our YouTube channel. Chip's like went through the roof when he's on. Like he just, the clip I pulled, Kim, was so short. He didn't even really, like, it was kind of a tease to the longer interview. Oh, and people were going to town on him. I mean, my God, he knows how to needle people in the perfect way, which I absolutely love. But I mean, yeah, so we took up a lot of time. Thank you so much for stepping in. Did I make the wrong decision, my friend, about sending the permission slip?
No, because what a cool experience to go to San Francisco and see the Wiz. You don't want her to miss out on that.
It was a last minute thing. So to let you guys know, she just joined this play. It's her first high school play. She comes out of practice yesterday, and she's like, "Can I go see a play tomorrow with the crew, with the Gordon's people?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." Then all of a sudden she's like, "It's in San Francisco and we leave at 11 and I have to miss 2 classes." And I'm like, one of them's PE, so not that big of a deal. But the other one, I was like, you know, it's math. It's a class. It's a class. And she's like, they have this thing called tutorial where they can go to the classes and kind of get a makeup class and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, I was against it. My husband was for it. So guess who won? Okay. Yep. So she gets to go, and I want her to make new friends, and it's a new club, and I want her to have extracurricular activities. But you'd think the darn kid would have had the permission slip packed away. Not only did I have to remind her when we got in the car to grab the darn thing, she left it in the car. Like, there are some lessons that just need to be learned. So maybe I did the wrong thing. I don't know. Maybe I did the wrong thing.
This was kind of a good one, though. Would have hated her to miss that.
Yeah. I mean, well, I did it. I did it. But yes. Okay. So, thank you, Rod, for a $20 donation to our super chat. You guys have been really great supporters of the show. I really, really do appreciate it. Marilyn came in with $5. Thank you, Marilyn. Doug also came in with $5. Thank you. And Spencer always starts us off. Sometimes even before the show starts with these $5 donations. Really nice. So, yeah. All right. So tomorrow's a big day. I am nervous. We've been talking about it a lot during the show. I think I've built it up. Guy better show up. Wouldn't be awful. So again, Amir Zar, he does these videos. And again, I want to thank a longtime listener, Sam, a friend of the show. He's part of our community, who connected us. And I'm really optimistic about the conversation we're going to have tomorrow. I really, really am. I hope that you guys not only will join us, but will send me questions. So again, you guys know the email, but there it is. The Nikki Medoro Show at gmail.com. Heather, I think, was sending me some questions in the comments. I try to go back, but please send them this way because sometimes I lose some of the comments when I quit the show or end the show. So if you have any questions you want me to ask him, he's Palestinian and American. He's a law professor. He does podcasts. He's been interviewed by the New York Times. I mean, this isn't just some rando that I'm pulling off the street that Sam suggested that doesn't know his stuff. Okay. But again, I understand that some people have very strong feelings. I'm not having a debate. John, I know this was suggested before. I'm not having a debate between Amir Azar and John Rothman tomorrow. That's not happening. I want to have a conversation with Amir Azar. I don't want to be a moderator of a debate. I don't even know what that would even look or sound like. Okay. What I want to do is listen. I want to listen. I want to hear a perspective. Okay. I'm not promoting something. I'm not against something. I'm just trying to figure out a way and what that would look like for this friggin' war to end. Okay. That's what I want. I don't want innocent lives to be killed anymore. That I know. That's what I know. Now who people consider innocent, obviously some people disagree on.
I saw this text come through or chat come through earlier, and this is my fear. And it's what Eric says. I feel like I can't discuss anything about Israel or Palestinians without being called either anti-Semitic or racist in some capacity. And that's it. Like if you even consider a different perspective or anything, all of a sudden you're against the world or you're against the people you should be for. And that's not what it's about. So I hope people will approach it with an open mind, you know, and not just go there right away.
And I know, and I am. And the Lord's like, don't be nervous. It's a great thing you're doing by having this person on. Don't worry about it. The question of what a Palestinian state will look like is a great one. Yeah, that's my number one. Like, what does it look like? Similar to, you know, like I was talking with Chip Franklin before, getting out of Afghanistan, getting out of Ukraine, you know, there's the idea and then there's the implementation of something. And what does that look like? What does a free Palestine look like? And what does that mean for Israel? You know, like all of these sorts of things. So again, I'm going to try my best. Please, you know, be easy on me and be respectful. That's all I ask from. And I love you guys. I love the community that we have created here. So let's keep it up. Okay. Let's be respectful. I know you're allowed to have strong feelings, but even if you've been part of this community for a long time, if you start putting hateful stuff in the comments, you're going to be put in timeout. You just are. We don't need it. The guest is going to see those comments. So if you have something that you want to ask it. You know, put it in the comments and we'll ask it. But yeah, so that's tomorrow. That's going to be a big day tomorrow. Jefferson Graham will also be on tomorrow to lighten things up a little bit. And then again, Kim's here Friday and Monday. I'm in KCBS losing all my sleep. But it's going to be a fun show. Next Wednesday, I was hinting with Chip. I'm going to have 2 back-to-back homeless stories about different ideas of what to do with the homeless situation, where they go and stuff like that. So that's happening next week as well. All right, you guys, click the thumbs up button. Make sure you have subscribed to the show. Click that bell that you see right there and it'll alert you every time I have new content up on the show. I try to pull new videos and shorts from our shows for everyone to enjoy as well. The super chat again. Thank you to everybody again that donated. You could donate during the replay as well. Spencer, Rod, Marilyn, and Doug. Thank you guys so much. And again, if you can afford it, please become an official Medorable. We love our community. Just go to thenikkimedoroshow.com. Click that Patreon link. Donate to the show. Keep the lights on, as they say. All right. I love you. Stay here for the Mark Thompson Show. And, of course, the After Party Live with Kim McAllister and John Daly. Mwah. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. Miss Brown, like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.